The first bullet went straight through the car door and into my player's shoulder. The table was silent. They looked at me and whispered, "How much damage is that?" I leaned back, grinned, and said, "All of it." And that, my friends, was the exact moment I realized Cyberpunk Red Combat is not Dungeons & Dragons. Welcome back to Monster Mechanics, where we talk monsters, tabletop RPG combat, and all the ways to make your games exciting, terrifying, and most importantly, fun. If you love role-playing games, homebrew tactics, and the occasional party panic attack, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future deep dives. Now let's talk about combat in D&D versus Cyberpunk Red, and why running my first Cyberpunk session nearly flatlined my entire party. Alright, so as many of you know, D&D combat is like a heroic stage play. You take turns, you act out your moment in the spotlight, and the system gives you a lot of room to be dramatic. You've got hit points that act like armor against bad decisions, you've got healing magic, potions, and party members who can literally bring you back from the brink of death. Even if you drop to 0, you've got death saves. The game's way of saying, "Don't worry, hero, the curtain hasn't closed yet." And as a Dungeon Master, I'm used to letting my players be bold. Charge the ogre? Go for it. Leap off a rooftop and stab the dragon in the eye? Sure, the dice will decide, but you'll probably live. In D&D, getting hit is just the start of a heroic story beat. But then I ran Cyberpunk Red. And my friends, this is not a heroic stage play. This is a knife fight in a dirty alley where everyone is armed and paranoid. My first fight as a game master, the players met a fixer in a dim parking garage. They think it's a roleplay scene. They stroll in like they're in the Forgotten Realms, expecting skill checks and witty banter. Then the ambush hit. One player, a nomad, peeked out from behind a car to take a shot. I roll, critical hit. Armor shreds, blood sprays. They are bleeding out before they even realize what happened. And I ask the table, "Do you have a trauma team card?" Silence. They looked at me like I've spoken a completely new language. "Oh, no coverage? Oof. Well, that might be it for you." It was like a light switch flipped in their heads. This was not Dungeons & Dragons. No clerics, no death saves, just bullets, blood, and maybe a helicopter if you paid your premiums. The combat just feels different in Cyberpunk Red. And here's the thing, D&D is about endurance. You can tank the hits, heal, and keep on swinging. Cyberpunk Red is about survival. One bad move and you're just gone. In D&D, combat is encouragingly heroic. Players make big, bold moves because the system rewards that kind of bravery and storytelling. In Cyberpunk Red, combat is punishingly realistic. Players are going to have to hug cover, crawl along the floor, and whisper, "Can I make that dash without dying?" The pace is also totally different. D&D turns are little action scenes. You swing your sword, cast your spell, maybe toss out a heroic quip in between. Cyberpunk turns are just blurs of chaos. Someone moves, someone fires, someone screams, and everyone else ducks. The first fight I ran in Cyberpunk lasted maybe 3 rounds, but it felt like a full-on movie shootout. And by the end, the players were sweating and leaning back like they had just run a marathon. Nobody, and I mean nobody, felt like a superhero. But when they realized they survived, that in and of itself felt like a victory. Running Cyberpunk Red taught me to stop thinking like a heroic fantasy dungeon master. It rewarded caution and cleverness, not just bravery. It made my battle maps become a little bit more tight and tactical, using alleyways, stairwells, and cars for cover. And I always had to remind my players to buy a trauma team card, or else that first fight might be their last. And if D&D combat is a heroic musical where your players are the stars, Cyberpunk Red is combat at a punk rock dive bar where the amps might explode and somebody throws a bottle at your head. Both are fun in their own way, both are incredibly dramatic, but man, one of them will make your players laugh and the other one's gonna make them sweat. If you guys liked this breakdown of my first Cyberpunk Red Game Master experience, let me know. I have tons of more stories to tell on this. We're still playing this campaign. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to Monster Mechanics, and drop me a comment telling me what the most terrifying combat you've ever run was or survived in Cyberpunk Red, Dungeons & Dragons, or any tabletop RPG. And remember, in tabletop RPGs, you can roll death saves like D&D, but in Night City, you just hope the trauma team shows up in time. I'll catch y'all next time.